Hello everyone, taking you for a walk with me off the beaten track, and it's the weekend, and this weekend I'm using these videos to explore what brought me off the beaten track, why, just kind of some self-discovery of how I got to be in a place where I feel like I don't go along with usually what the majority of people around me are claiming to be true. Kind of a funny thing. And I know there's all kinds of old sayings that talk about these things like, well, really, I can't think of one. But there's something to it, like when, like Galileo, for example. Galileo was saying that the earth is round and that the earth moves around the sun and not the other way around. And people thought he was nuts, and he just kept going against the grain with what he was observing to be true. And he was a great thinker. That's an example of an extraordinary person. And maybe me and maybe some of you are more, maybe in that realm, but on a much smaller scale. And anyway, trying to think of what is it? When did this start? When did I start questioning? And I'm thinking about my parents. Yesterday's video I made talked a little bit about my first memories, and my parents, they got married and moved to the United States. So my little family, me, my siblings, and my parents, we were very much alone over here. We didn't have just that sort of like when you're surrounded by family and everybody has tradition and ideas about the way things are and how to do everything. We didn't have that growing up, which, in one regard, the times I've gone back to like where my relatives live in South America, I've gone back there and seen they do everything together. And it looks really lovely to have so much support and so many people around you celebrating all together and sharing all the same thoughts, all the same ideas. But I can see how that would make it really hard, even more difficult to go out on your own thinking, or for me to go out on my own thinking if I had a lot of family around me saying, no, it's not that way, it's this way, it's the way that everybody is saying. Hope you understand what I'm talking about. That's what I'm thinking. And so I'm thinking about my parents coming here, and that's pretty radical to move to a different country that speaks a whole different language. I know when my older siblings were born, my mother didn't even speak English. And my father, he practiced as a psychiatrist. So he definitely thought outside the box and was always questioning the way things were done in the psychiatric world. He's lectured on this. He's written papers and a little book on this topic because his career was as a psychiatrist. And most of us know as a psychiatrist, you're supposed to be diagnosing mental illnesses. And my father has spoken out for decades, since before I can remember, about how it's not scientifically valid to be saying that people have mental illnesses. There's no blood work that can diagnose a mental illness. No diagnostic studies that can show that somebody is mentally ill. Not that people don't have some really bad habits, practice some really bad manners, maybe, things like that. My dad could elaborate on and on. But it gave me a nice glimpse into really going against the grain and really questioning things, questioning what everyone around you is saying is absolute. I do like my dad's perspective on mental illness of who is to decide. If you've ever looked at the diagnostic book on mental illnesses, it's very much a judgment call for someone to be diagnosed. So it's in the hands of who's doing the judging. Who's to say? Who knows what's ill or not when people are doing unusual or out of the ordinary behaviors. I mean, you can also cross cultural lines, and something that's very acceptable and normal in one culture will be considered crazy in another culture. So that doesn't work. Just a little something to think about. And that's beside not including when people are actually harming each other. That's another story. Harming themselves, harming another. But whether it's mental illness or something else, a spiritual disconnection, which I think in our modern days is real common, to have a spiritual disconnection. And I think that stems from a disconnection from people's disconnection from their physical bodies and not developing their inner strength, back to strength. Just a few thoughts that I wanted to get out there today. If you're listening, I really appreciate it, and I would love to hear any comments you have about any of the things I said. It's nice to have a dialogue about these things. But have a great day, whatever day of the week it is for you.